and Gale have made a home for yourselves in Waterdeep. Sometimes it isn't clear what he loves more, his research or you. But when he looks into your eyes or up at the stars while he sits by your side, you know the answer. One such night, your reveries are interrupted by an embarrassed apprentice delivering an urgent message written in a frail hand, an invitation to a gathering of former allies, those who stood with you against the Netherbrains 6 months ago. Gale the adventurer has quickly become Gale the academic, but he's all too happy to leave his tower for this meeting.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. To see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water, where you might breathe ice instead of air, and the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed them.
A bit. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. Shractalor.
Shractalor. You recall the name. The capital city of the Githzerai, and the home of their immortal god king, Zerith Menya and Gith.
Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minyara Gith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyara Gith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust, I miss this place. More to the point, I missed you. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. I thought perhaps you mightn't want to be reminded of the past, even if it was to see old friends. But I'm glad to be proven wrong. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. Trudy. I found a little cottage. Abandoned, half ruined. There's a lot of such places to be found thanks to the Absolute's armies. I've been making it my own. You can come as soon as you please, so long as the lodgers approve of you. 4 dogs, 8 cats, 9 chickens, 6 pigeons, 4 sheep, a milk cow named Daphne, a squirrel who's far too clever for her own good, and a wolf cub I found orphaned in some woods. I've had to do far worse things with my hands. Trust me. This is no burden at all. I don't think I've ever slept more soundly than I have with my menagerie of beasts for company. Just don't tell Halsin that, or he'll want an invitation. Healing. Learning to live again. It's hard to think of all that was robbed from them, but they're intent on making every day count for double. My mother's mind still drifts every now and again, but she has more good days than not so good days. She taught me her recipe for apple and plum pie, and when I tasted it, I actually remembered it from when I was a little girl. Some things can't be taken from you, it seems. Father's making himself useful, helping me fix up the cottage and caring for the animals. You should see the amount I have now. He's been waiting years for this. Now he can't stop smiling. Sorry, I'm rambling. Family life and pastry recipes probably aren't the most interesting topics for such a historic reunion. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just be sure to take your own advice whenever you can. You've earned it. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. I can imagine. A celebrity in their midst. They must have raised their voices from whispers to faint murmurs. Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. Scratch barks merrily in something like agreement. He looks coyly at the ground, suddenly shy. He snaps the air and wiggles. He's either miming fighting a many-limbed creature or dancing. It's unclear. He is, however, exhausted. He's had plenty of adventures without you. The joy in the owlbear's eyes is clear. He longs to have a home. And Halsin is perfect. Scratch yaps a request you know well. Fetch.
I told you our friend was near. We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly. So Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore the sticky tyrant from the sky? Aha, the lovebirds still nest together then? Minsc is glad. For what is life without a companion? Though I am thinking yours does not sit on your shoulders, eh? Ah, you are right, Boo. That is none of Minsc's business. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? I knew an Everescan Greycloak who would say, Baldur's Gate will be the death of me. But I can't say it doesn't hold all of life. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. But I see the flush in your cheeks when I speak of family. Perhaps you mean to start one of your own. Oh, I don't want to watch over a blood match where the duelists call me auntie. You just be careful, Valspawn. All right, Ball child. It is true you are no longer what you were. You have done well for yourself. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
It's the star of the show. Our humble protagonist who forsook Baal to save the city. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Oh, I wouldn't bother you with such things during a party. And anyway, I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Come now, you don't want to be seen as a mere sequel. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
There you are, my friend. Breathe deep. Can you smell it?
You take in every scent the night breeze carries. Sweet honeysuckle, tender violets, and an earthy fragrance you can't quite recognize.
Forest trees draped in moss, bittersweet, smoky, and that faintest hint of vanilla. A far cry from the rancid Avernus heat that's been clogging my lungs. I swear, Karlach and I have felled enough cambions to build a fortress with their horns. Who'd have thought that just one of those fiends held the key to escaping Avernus for good? One of them sported a map and some blueprints. If you want all the gory details, Karlach can fill you in. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last Fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. She's kept me on a long leash, if you can believe it. Every target she's set me on's been a demonic intruder. Tanari assassins who slip into Avernus, Armonites that amass near the Styx. My next target's the most challenging yet, or so she says. I don't know much more, only that it's no demon, but a devil. I'm not worried. Not when Karlach's got my back. I swear she could scare the eyes off a beholder. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. Well, that's enough hell talk for the moment. The night's young. You shouldn't go wasting it. Or wasting any of the wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oh, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oakfather has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. Apologies. You can probably understand my eagerness. I shall be as gentle as a feather next time. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see, my charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. I spend half my days in Ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course. Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? And I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Imagine their faces. By all means. If only we could stay like that forever. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on, enjoy the festivities.
You're quite certain I look acceptable? I can't remember when I last wore something other than my teaching robes. Feels a little odd to find myself in something so unsinged. Not in front of Tara, please.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm only your oldest friend and your mother's most voluble confidant. Do whatever you please. I don't mind.
I won't keep you to myself for too long, but while I have you, I want to say thank you for encouraging me to attend this evening. Teaching at Blackstaff Academy has proven such an unexpected pleasure. Sometimes I find it hard to tear myself away. Just one of the myriad unexpected ways life has delighted me in recent months. Even my own city feels new to me, now that I share it with you. That you do. I've not had so much fun in Waterdeep since my own days as a Blackstaff apprentice. You've certainly made quite the impression on my friends down at the Yawning Portal. The last I heard, they were thinking of naming a drink after you. I'm just glad you're happy there. When we met, our lives were rather different, and being here this evening, well, reminds me how much has changed. When our adventure began, our troop had no more in common than the worm in our brains. Standing here, now, I no longer see the people we were. Frightened, desperate, alone. We changed. We survived. And we did it together. I've missed them. I've missed this.
And Tara, mind?
I could never forget about you, Tara. You wouldn't let me. God knows we suffered for our salvation. But it was worth it, wasn't it? We did something incredible. And wherever life takes us, we'll carry the memory of that with us forever. Now, much as I could spend an eternity in your company, we see plenty of each other already. Tempting as it is to keep you all to myself, would be terrible company if we didn't mingle for at least part of the evening. love you. Now go on, before I change my mind.
Oh, hello, darling. I wasn't sure you'd make it. Yes, you are a very social sort, aren't you? Gale's never been kept so busy in all his days. No wonder his studies are suffering. But such is the way of love, isn't it? I know that, but I intensely dislike sharing. Yes, I am. And you're a dear for putting up with this cranky old Tressim. I may show my claws now and then, but I hope I never scratch you too deeply. Gale, on the other hand, the way he leaves his potions in absolute disarray. I know for certain he wasn't raised in a barn, but you'd never know it. We must begin our campaign to set him on the straight and narrow when we return home. Now, enjoy your party. You've quite earned it, if the balladeers are to be believed.
Hello, darling. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And I must say, for someone who had to face down a dark god, you seem to be doing remarkably well. What have you been up to? No relapses, I hope? Of course, a very sensible step. The last thing we wanted was another surprise. Not that I was worried, of course. I knew you'd have this under control. But I am glad to see you doing well. I'm glad to see us all doing well, in fact. Things turned out rather nicely in the end. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. I'm sorry I didn't seek you out that night. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. No, this is all me. I swear. Don't get me wrong. I was a mess at first. Every day I yearned for the sun and mourned my curse to live in the shadows. But in time, I realized that darkness is as much a part of me as my fangs. This is only a curse as long as I refuse to embrace the shadows. So, I decided I would. I decided not to be defined by the choices other people made, by what other people did to me. My past may be done, but my present, my future, they're mine. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. With this, you mad bastard! You brought me back! Soldier. It's really you. I've missed you, you old bile spawn. Oh, do you not want me to call you the B word anymore? Please tell me you're opening a bathhouse in the gate. When I get out, I'm gonna need to soak for years to wash off the stink of Avernus. It's been tough, keeping myself alive. But having Wyll around has been incredible. Fucker's even better at killing devils than yours truly. We don't have much time to chat, but just knowing he's there makes all the difference. Oh, but hey, guess what we found? Cambion dropped a map with directions and blueprints for Zariel's own private forge. A fucking forge! Our current plan is to get in, grab a smith, and force him to fix old Rusty. Or maybe give me a brand new model that can live outside of Avernus. You haven't seen the last of old Karlach yet, soldier. Always. I won't be in Avernus forever, you know. Can I look you up when I'm out? Hey, that would be kind of fun, though. High stakes hide and seek. Honestly, I'd be curious to see if you could land a blow or two. Gods, is it good to see you again. To be here, together. Hard not to get used to it all over again. This won't be the last time. I promise.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. I find it hard to summon up the trademark pep these days. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another. Languishing in obscurity. Cyric knew what he was doing when he punished me for that song, the prick. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None. I'm washed up, I'm afraid. You know. You're bloody right. It is an honor. Finally. The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want?
fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready, for thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.